WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has moved a step closer to facing criminal charges in America for breaking spying laws and conspiring to hack government computers. American officials have won an appeal today at the High Court in London over a decision not to extradite him. US authorities accuse his website of releasing confidential military records and diplomatic cables, which they say put lives in danger. Listen to what Mr. Assange's fiancée, Stella Morris, had to say outside court.
Julian represents the fundamentals of what it means to live in a free society, of what it means to have press freedom, of what it means for journalists to do their jobs without being afraid of spending the rest of their lives in prison.
Joining me now live is Dr. Alan Mendoza, who's Executive Director of the Henry Jackson Society. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
We heard there from Stella Morris, and indeed we've got another statement in from the WikiLeaks editor-in-chief, Christian Franzen, saying this is about the right of a free press to publish without being threatened by a bullying superpower. Are they right?
No, of course not. This is about the right of someone accused of a crime to face a trial, rather than escaping from justice, as he's managed to do for the last 10 years. Look, it may well be that the trial finds him innocent, and you will end up with evidence placed either way and a decision made in that way. But surely the essence of a free society is that people who are accused of crimes face justice for them and are then either found guilty or innocent as a result. It is surely not that you hide under the cloak of this or that trying to escape from justice, which he's done for a decade.
Team Assange are likely to try and reverse the judgment in two ways. They want to challenge last January's findings that his leaks amounted to an alleged crime, but it's not clear if such an appeal will be heard. And secondly, they may ask the Supreme Court to examine the judgment today on the US diplomatic assurances, because there's no guarantee it'll take the case, because they'd have to argue there's a fundamental problem with the law, which has, of course, never been the case in the past. So they're going to continue. They're going to appeal this. This is the end of the story.
Oh, of course it's not the end of the story. Look, this is a man who's consistently sought to evade trial and multiple trials. Let's not forget there were, of course, the rape allegations in Sweden that he managed to escape from as well.
That case was later dropped, we should say.
Well, it was, but that was a long time after the case was put out. Let's not forget that. So, and he did manage to evade it until it was dropped. So, there's a substantial record here in terms of trying to avoid different forms of justice. Now, what we need to consider here is obviously the legal process. His team have every right to appeal, but as you've quite rightly stated, they would have to show something quite extraordinary in both cases in order to get the Supreme Court to hear the case. Perhaps Supreme Court will hear the case. I welcome the judicial process. That's what we've been doing the whole way through, wanting the process to work, and that, of course, includes a right to appeal.
His lawyers are saying that he faces, if convicted, a possible penalty of up to 175 years in jail. The US government say the sentence could be between 4 and 6 years. What sort of state of mind do you think this man is in, considering that he sought refuge in the Ecuadorian embassy for 7 years, from 2012 until 2019? He can't be in great shape.
No, he can't be in great shape, but let's spare a thought for a second for the people whose information he exposed online and who may well have been killed for having assisted the American forces. What kind of shape are they in? I think we have to consider that anyone who's accused of a crime no doubt goes through a whole range of mental turbulence. Most people, though, reconcile themselves to the idea they have a day in court, they will face that justice and do that. I think in his case, whatever state he's in has probably been exacerbated by his attempt to evade justice.
Do you think one of the problems is the way in which the data that he acquired, the way he put it on the website? Is that the issue? What should he have done with this material? Because there's some of it which is in the public interest, others perhaps endangering lives.
Yeah, I think there's a legitimate argument to be made on that basis. And clearly, there is always a role for whistleblowing in societies. But there are two problems here. The first is the way he obtained the data, as you quite rightly suggest, through allegedly hacking into US Army systems in order to get the data. So there's a problem with how you obtain information. If you obtain it in a criminal way, we in a just society want to obviously examine how that happens and to stop it from happening on a regular basis. Otherwise, fundamentally, anyone's data could be hacked with impunity. The second issue, of course, is indeed how it was put out. I'm perfectly prepared to accept there may have been an error in the way he put it out, and I think there's been a sort of concern, a long story about whether it was meant to be leaked in the way it was or wasn't. in a sense, doesn't matter, though. The reality is that if you or I do something accidentally and it causes people's lives to be endangered, we are still culpable for that. And that is, of course, the question before the courts will be, is he culpable? Has he committed a crime? And, as a result, what should happen to him? But I do suspect, although his lawyers say he faces 175 years, the US has said in response they think it's more likely to be 4 to 6 years. And crucially, if he is found guilty. And that, of course, is the main thing. He's an innocent man until proven guilty.
Yeah.
He really should just face the courts and get on with it.
We will wait and see how this develops. We will probably speak again on this subject. Dr. Alan Mendoza, Executive Director at the Henry Jackson Society. For now, thank you.